election where them do. We still they wait for the change. All the promise when they make, it don't they be like saying a fake. Where the money, where the food. Cause everybody want improve. Since you come, no tears and pain. We don't tire to complain. I see the bad way you've been do. You don't tear Nigeria into two. 97% and 5%.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, Maiyegun don't come, my people make we shout, Maiyegun don't come, Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, Maiyegun don't come, MaiyegunDiary Politico, Maiyegun don't come, this one not the off in mind, Maiyegun don't come, and in the touchlight every corner, Maiyegun don't come, okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you ladder, Maiyegun don't come, my people make we shout, Maiyegun don't come, Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, Maiyegun don't come, MaiyegunDiary Politico, Maiyegun don't come, this one not the off in mind, Maiyegun don't come, person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say MaiyegunDiary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh, Maiyegun don't come, my people make you shout, Maiyegun don't come, Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, Maiyegun don't come, MaiyegunDiary Politico, Maiyegun don't come, this man not the off in mind, Maiyegun don't come, aha.
Good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. Good evening to you from wherever you're watching from. This is Maiyegun live.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làwọn tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun Diary,
Maiyegun ti dé o, ọ̀rẹ́ ará ìlú.
Maiyegun Diary,
lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun Diary,
Ẹ̀kálẹ́ o, ẹ̀kálẹ́.
Gbogbo ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí.
Maiyegun Diary,
àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀.
So one of the things that people have asked publicly and then privately is that we should dedicate much of our energy and then research or awareness into educating the people why they should support the idea of renegotiating what is now called Nigeria and pave way for an exit of the Yoruba people from Nigeria. Why should the Yorubas be interested in that? And so many other things I'm going to touch today. Tonight won't really be about them, even though it will likely be about them too. I'm talking about those who brought us to this stage and ganging up again to drag us into another journey. 4 years of our lives are being stolen by people who give no damn. I'm going to talk to you tonight as a Yoruba man, and then it will be logical enough for so many of you who are not Yorubas as usual.
Lórí YouTube, and yes, we like you. Oh, Baba Bewure, and yes, we like you. Bijo Ìgbádìyẹ, and yes, we like you.
Let's take a minute for those who are joining now while we wait for others, right? Let's take a minute to like that video before you settle down fully, right? If you haven't really subscribed on MaiyegundsDiary Politico or like the page, please do, just for a minute, and we will continue. Thank you. So for the many of us who have saw the interview granted by Buhari yesterday concerning the state of Nigeria and his supposed sharing news for the citizens in the new year, but it all came back as as blank as usual, hopeless and depressing as well. However, as a people, I'm a Yoruba man from the western part of what is today's Nigeria. And I do ask myself many times that the only thing lacking in the hand of the people generally, especially in Yoruba land and beyond, is that the sovereignty, the power to decide what they want and who push what they want is no longer with the people. It has been stolen simply because of the years of abuse, corruption, assault, and then killings that has somehow forced people to accept their destiny in a place that is not working for them. The political class that are expected to be the sort of the heartbeat, or let me say the pulse, to feel the pulse of the people that they are representing, have become part and parcel of the whole conspiracy, the conspiracy to keep us poor. You must have possibly read a lot or believed too on what you have been told of how rich the land of the Yoruba people is, and how much of these resources are being stolen right before your very eyes by those who speak your language and by those who don't, because they have the umbrella immunity of of Nigeria, something that takes your power away from your reach. And that then brings us to where I made that the writer of this broadcast, identity crisis. In Nigeria, it is easier and convenient to call yourself a Nigerian, even when you can't really define what makes you a Nigerian. People make conjectures, they make up things, conjecture that, just to make them feel kind of reasonable for why they are Nigerians. But in actual fact, there's no real Nigerian. Citizenship is what makes you a citizen of that country. But today in Nigeria, it has become so bastardized that even those who are crossing over from the Sahel, we call them the Fulani nomads, who have now created, or let me say, who have now widened the gap of the vision of Nigeria, because the people in charge of Nigeria who choose to promote ethnic and religious bias over the rest of the country makes them more citizens than majority of you in Nigeria. How do I know that? I'm a Yoruba man, right? Nigeria does not allow me to have an identity that actually gives me something that makes me say, oh yeah, I'm part of Nigeria, but I'm this. Most of it I've been told, or you have been told, like many of us have been told, are always secondary. For example, you are not allowed to register a political party in the name of your nationality, which is Yoruba. Now, starting from the beginning, as Nigeria happened to be a product of a negotiation, which means some ethnic nationalities, right, came together and agreed to be part of the former colonial Nigeria as a new country. A country of a negotiation that has now gotten to a stage whereby your identity that came into that alliance is now secondary to the alliance that nobody can really define to you except whatever whoever is in power says you are. Now, don't get confused. What I'm saying here is this. As a Yoruba man, it is illegal for me to have an idea of a Yoruba first, right? And by so doing, promoting the ideology among the Yorubas, why or what makes them the unique Yorubas as part of Nigeria. And in fact, why they should know that they have the capacity to be their own country without Nigeria. So I'm not allowed to promote that ideology. And they cut every legal means of making it easier. That is Nigeria, a forced union. Not because the Yorubas negotiated for this particular Nigeria to start with. No part of Nigeria today negotiated for this current Nigeria. It is a forced union, a forced relationship, whereby every opinion that is contrary to those who've merged it together is never going to see the light of the day. So as a Yoruba man, I am not allowed to go out there and say, oh, why can't we have Yoruba Nationalist Party? I'll tell you what I mean by that. Because I figured out something. When they take away your power, you can rabble, you can scream, you can complain. But without that power, is either you take it back by force, right? Or without it, it will always be same thing. Again, I am not allowed, or we are not allowed to start a political party, right? That says Yoruba Nationalist Party, with all the ideology that has to do with Yoruba nation. Yoruba is a nation. You need to know that. The population of a 60 million Yorubas is a size of more than 10 African countries, sometimes put together. So the ideology that you are a Yoruba man in Nigeria is secondary. And that is why when you look around to try to register your complaint, your displeasure, and the rest of that, you find out that there is actually nobody who is with that mentality, because Nigeria didn't allow it. If you start a Yoruba Nationalist Party, it simply means the idea of a Yoruba nation, right, can be indeed embedded in Yorubas from cradle to adulthood. The idea that says Yoruba first in everything, wherever you found yourself, in any position of authority, position of power, or anywhere where decision is being made, and you are sitting on that table as a Yoruba man, the first thing that comes to your mind is that what is Yoruba going to make out of this? If there's nothing for us in this, then we are not involved. That character, that kind of a mentality is built into people that was stolen away from us. That could have been us when Action Group then was in charge of the Yoruba nation, the Western region. The ideology was very mutual because it was easy to sell. This is Yoruba land. This is your government. Whatever you want done, if we can't do it, you can just completely ignore us and then abandon us for others who can do it. It was easier. So every individual who went into either public office or went into politics and the rest of that, their idea were much about how to build a virile and then a successful region. And listen, they did. Between 1954 and 1960, they turned around the fortune of the Yoruba land, and it could have been greater if it wasn't cut short. Now, this ideology is what Nigeria stole away. And this ideology is one of the reasons why we as a Yoruba people, if we want to know why we've lost that power, and we lost the power, unfortunately, we thought we lost the power to those who are parading themselves as leaders and representatives of Yoruba today. No, we didn't lose the power to them. What happened is that they were stooges who are in office but not in power. We all know where they derived that power from. The people who staged the revenge coup of 1966. So as a Yoruba man, your pride will normally come from where? It normally comes from where you come from. And these are the places that those who have been in charge of it for the past count it, 60 years, 62 years now. They've done so badly, that they've made our people believe that there is no other hope. Every now and then, people feel like maybe we should wait for another 4 years, or maybe military should take over, maybe something should do, because the people in charge or people who have the chance or those who claim to be representing the Yoruba people, their ideology is that whatever solution they are going to prefer, it has to align with Nigeria so that they won't lose anything. But that's one thing. When the British came to colonize Nigeria, cut the long story short, from the record, the first idea was not to make Nigeria a successful place. One, we know that. And the second one was that even at that, they still had a plan that was modeled after their own country, where they also have 4 nations in one country. According to the record, they said it was meant that like Scotland, the people of Yoruba land, they will be in charge of their own affairs and do their own things, parliamentarian system of government. And that idea is one of the reasons why people said maybe we should start with restructuring. But what I found out is this: the idea of restructuring has become a business for those who propagated that for the past 30 years, because that's what brought the likes of Tifnumbu and gang into prominence. These guys said Yorubas wanted to go back to 1963 Republican Constitution. That was the constitution that allowed us to be in charge of our own affairs without having to wait for a Buhari to tell you to go back to farm where terrorists are waiting for you. That was what brought the likes of Afenifere and co into the limelight. The idea of Yorubas managing our own affairs on our own. But it has become a sham now, because even the campaign for that as recent as 2019, for those who may not remember, Buhari was granting an interview yesterday, okay? He was granting an interview and he said, what is restructuring? That what do they mean by restructuring? That when the Igbo leaders came to him, they said they wanted more states to complement, these same states like other geopolitical zones. That's what he said. And then the Yorubas who are asking for restructuring, They were asking for, a sort of total control of their resources, whereby they will be paying some royalties into this, back to the center. So Buhari said he didn't understand what restructuring is, but guess what? In 2019 election, they put together El-Rufai and some other guys, APC restructuring committee, and they submitted a report. In that report, they reiterated what they promised in 2015, state police, resource control, this, blah, 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 blah. But Buhari was saying yesterday that he didn't understand anything about restructuring. But guess what? In the manifestos that those who knows what Yorubas want and continue to, to take advantage of that, they are coming back with the same message. You know what? For Nigeria to remain better, we need to restructure. That's why restructuring is now a business that is so stale, dying with the same people who are promising you another 4 years of wait. That is, if you give it to a Yoruba man, yeah, or if a Yoruba man become the president, don't worry. You see all these things that we are talking about, you will all get it. Guessing, forgetting the fact that it was the same Yoruba man, a Yoruba man, who put together all the lies that they sold to you in APC. All the lies. Tayo Defayemi. So the point I'm making here is this, right? When people said we have no power, it is because we don't have that power. Most of the time we wish that we do have the people on our side enough to go, to go after these charlatans who made us so cheap, where the conversation about Nigeria is being held, and these guys continue to probably push for themselves. Now, identity crisis is what will make you kind of want to push for a Nigeria presidency, for a Yoruba president, or whatever Southern president, or whatever presidency you want to push in 2023, hoping and thinking that these guys, will turn around and then begin to do what they have the chance to do now and choose not to do. So that is why when people said that taking over from them starts from taking people away from them. So logically, if you don't have that political power, then you should possibly have the military power, both that have been taken away from the majority of us, and then the majority of our people browbeaten with poverty as well. So if our identity is completely taken and we are battling with that, and you have a chance now for somebody telling you that you are a Yoruba man, and the first thing first should have been Yoruba first, not Nigeria first. And if you have to use some kind of, which is not really tenable, if you look at Buhari and gang, they kind of made it obvious that in their own world, it will be Fulani first. Policy-wise, action, military, and every other thing they do is tailored in protecting that legacy. While you are currently saddled with the myth of one Nigeria, one Nigeria. So let's come back again. Yorubas have the capacity to run the best education system in the entire Africa. We started the free education system before any part of Europe, even before here in the UK, the British even tried it. It is the idea of community. You see, when I was reading about the brain behind free education and how it was so successful in Yoruba land then that it became a model. So the idea behind it was it takes a whole village to raise a child. And if a child is raised right, the community will be the better for it. So therefore, if any community or if any country want to succeed, you have to what? You have to invest not just money, including time, in educating the younger generation, because the future that you talk about will be in their hands if they have the idea of what the future should be right from the cradle. That was what gave the idea of free education in Yoruba land. And it was easy sold. It was easier sold then, not because it was the first time education is coming to Yoruba, but it was the first time education, well, Western education indeed spread in Yoruba land. And that changed a lot of households. Many households that could possibly, if they were to be into this current political leaders in Yoruba land, if those in that era, if they were to be during this time, they would possibly just die in poverty. So that was the beginning, the involvement of the community in building their community. I was told it was easier then for community courts to give or settle disputes legitimately enough that parties are satisfied using different of our traditional cultural norms in managing disputes, managing security, promoting trade, all those things, development as well. These were supposed, and I was told, and in fact, I verified and I confirmed the greed in people was pretty much less because people believed more in hard work, that it will always pay. For example, is a child that invested, his or her time in his or her studies, right, and came out very well, stood a chance of getting the best scholarship he or she could get. And listen to this. Even before they graduated from secondary school, they already had jobs waiting for them because they were trained they were being trained for jobs that are already waiting, for the market that is already waiting for them, until that crashed and greed set in. And people became greedy just because the system then said, you just have to survive on your own. Hard work became nothing. And gradually, thieves became role model. So we lost it from then on, but we can still do it. There's something called adult education for those who are already grown up. But what do we do to the younger ones? Look at the damages of the last 22 years since democracy started. That was the time that the Yorubas could have the chance of shaping their destiny. And guess those who were saddled with that responsibility back then? The same characters you are seeing today who are offering you the same future they promised you 22 years ago. First, they destroyed our education sector in Yoruba land. And that is deliberate. Okay, it is deliberate. They know that if you don't have the required education, right, you probably won't have the mental capacity to challenge the inadequacies in what they provide for you as alternatives in your everyday life, as they have made it with Nigerians. They didn't improve because they believe that keeping people poor makes them more powerful. They, in 22 years ago, right, it didn't take Awolowo 10 years. It didn't even take him up to 8 years to make or achieve everything they've told you he achieved, or we have on record that he achieved in education, in agriculture, in infrastructure, in health sector, right? And so on and so forth, right? He didn't spend 10 years, but for 22 years, these greedy criminals continue to make a bad deal for the Yoruba people that kept us poor, okay? So this is an example. Awolowo was able to design a policy of inclusion and involvement of the people, which says service, not just any kind of entitlement. Service. It was all about service. So they invested the little they had. Those who could pay tax were paying taxes, right? They invested in agriculture, which is the mainstay of our economy as Packers then, yeah? They invested in all of that and expanded on all frontiers. They built what was called the Premier Health Center in the entire Africa as far back as 1950s. And that is the today's university teaching hospital. I mean, sorry, university hospital. What University College Ibadan, UCH Ibadan. They built Obafemi Awolowo University and built so many other institutions like that were meant to train the future thinkers, the future, leaders, who unfortunately, majority of them ended up in Europe. When Nigeria finally collapsed, the best brain trained from our system in Yoruba land, they ended up in Europe, America, and all over the world. Then the opportunity presented itself again in 1999, when those who had the chance then pretended and told the Yoruba people that we deserved better. And guess what? They used the late sage Obafemi Awolowo as their own role model. And as Yorubas, it was easier. You get easy attachment to Awolowo. Now, these guys came 22 years down the road, right? We have whenever Nigeria goes on strike on education, the entire education, university sector in Yoruba land follows them. When they say the healthcare system, healthcare workers are on strike, the entire Yoruba healthcare system goes with them. And now, Yorubas are now at the mercy of whatever they do with your education, with our healthcare, with our infrastructure, with our agriculture, including our own security. We now have to just rely on them. And then, and hope for the best. That can be the only option if we have the right people, indeed, speaking up for us. We don't. Of course, we don't. And that is where your Yoruba-ness, the Yoruba first in you, should come in. If they ask you that, what makes you a Nigerian, you are probably not going to be able to really say. Not even your politicians will say. Obasanjo said his Yoruba-ness. His Yoruba-ness is not up to his Nigerian-ness. And then he went on to say, because he wouldn't have become what he became if it wasn't because he's a Nigerian. But how many Yorubas can say the same, that they wouldn't have become whatever they are today if they were not Nigerians? And how many Yorubas can come out today and say, probably I would have been better if I'm not Nigerian? That is where the conversation of would you rather keep being a Nigerian in a mismanaged and imbalanced system like this that it doesn't really guarantee anything other than the mystery of ego better. So we have everything that could make us better and great. We have the people, we have the land, we have the resources, but we don't have, or let me also say we have the greedy people who don't see beyond the piles of stolen cash and then illegally acquired properties that they flaunt about all above the impoverished land. Do you see how the Yoruba land looks generally? 60 years after independence, 22 years after democracy started, the Yorubas have been going to Abuja. They have been going to different meetings discussing the underdevelopment of their people, what they think or what they have been thinking should be the solution. And among it all, right, none of them took us out of the hole. We have young people who are currently in their 20s. So if this continues, what they are trying to steal from you, if you continue to believe in the fraudulent one Nigeria, is this. You're going to add another 4 years to it. Some of you are going to probably escape it. Some of you are going to climb like the crab in a bucket. When you put hundreds of crabs in a bucket, you get to see some who are going to try and crawl out. They have to crawl out by climbing the other hundreds that are going to get stuck below. They have to climb on them to climb out. Some of you are going to climb out, but millions are going to what? Drench in the same pit hole of poverty, deliberately kept going by those who have the power to stop it, but they choose not to. So if we have the power, for example, let's say we have you have a real country, or you have people fighting for Yoruba land. In 1999, there was a party called AD, Alliance for Democracy. They were pro-Yorubas. They were not allowed to call themselves Yoruba nationalist or Yoruba this, Yoruba that, but they were pro-Yoruba. And they won the entire Southwest Yoruba states. Ogun State, Oyo State, Osun State, Ekiti State, Ondo, Lagos. They didn't win Kwara. I can't remember if we did. Or did they win Kwara? Did the Yoruba won? The AD won Kwara then. I can't remember. Now, you see, that moment was the moment that you would expect those who have been at several meetings before 1999, before they did a meeting to select those that will become governor, become this, become that, going into a democracy. The idea then was that they are for Yoruba, and it was for Yoruba first. The development of Yoruba people, the progress and development of the land, and so on and so forth, was going to be their own yardstick. In fact, the idea of AD was to promote everything AG, Action Group. But it was a lie. It was a lie, because the idea then was that if I have been, for example now, right, I have been talking about the possibilities that if the Yoruba side should have the real people who believe in Yoruba first, indeed, yeah, who knows that the only way Yorubas and the young Yorubas can have a real better life, a real life, if we all show interest, is that number one, Yorubas can no longer give or share their resources with the rest of Nigeria, and we are not going to share the rest of Nigeria resources as well with the rest of Nigeria. Let Yoruba controls our land, the borders, and the, you know what I mean? Let us control our trade and the rest of that. And whatever that will be as a cost to being part of a temporary union of Nigeria, yes, we can probably negotiate that. But there's nobody raising that up, right? Since that 1999. So it would have been like, Maiyegun, you talk about Yoruba nation and all that. Sorry, it was ANPP. Thank you. I wanted to remember, I know it was Mohammed Lawal, right? I wanted to remember Lawal, you know, but I know. Thank you so much for that correction, okay? It wasn't AD, but AD won all those states I mentioned just now, right? And I can still remember, I mean, you know, I can still remember all their names, okay? But I'll come back to that. Now, you would expect me that, they said Maiyegun is now Ogun State governor. Yes. He's been talking about Yoruba nation. Now, let's see him talk about that Yoruba nation now as a governor. Wouldn't you expect that? I'm just saying. Yeah? That was what you would expect, or I expected, from those who won as AD, Yoruba party. They were not allowed to become Yoruba Nationalist Party or Yoruba something party. They were called Alliance for Democracy. Just to fulfill the military decree that they called 1999 Constitution. That is the book that won't allow you to set up your own political party that actually represents your nationality in that arrangement. You get what I mean now? So 6 of them, they had the executive power. They could test anything. Obasanjo was president. But they didn't. Did you know one thing? For those first 4 years that they were all together, no single one of them moved a motion or push for restructuring of Nigeria. None. Everything. No. Until after Obasanjo crossed over them and they crossed over to opposition and they became Afenifere again. But Tifnumbu survived. Since Tifnumbu survived, he became their godfather, for those who know the story. Now, Tifnumbu completed his own 80 years. The most part of it fighting Obasanjo, but that's another story. So they had the chance. They missed it. Then they became opposition. And they started promoting Yoruba this, Yoruba that, Yoruba is this, Yoruba is not this and that. But they are not really for Yoruba. Eventually we found out that these guys are not really in any way for, everyone can use that Yoruba name, Igbo name, and all of that identity to gain access to the table in Nigeria. And I'm asking you right now that you should stop giving them that privilege. You should begin to withdraw from such ignorant support that some of you really give to them. So they had the chance in 1999. Listen, from 1990, they have been asking Yoruba will break up. In 1993, somehow they supported Abiola. When Abiola's election got overturned, that brought them to limelight again. Yoruba will go, Yoruba will go, Yoruba will go. Abacha came. They were using Yoruba name Nadeko to fight Abacha. Yoruba this, Yoruba this. This is against Yoruba. They hate Yoruba, this and that. Just kind of similar, but a bit different to what the Biafrans are doing. Because the IPOBs have not said they want to become political party. But Afenifere then, was the one making declaration, who would protest tomorrow. They were really, that made them prominent. Some of them, they became targets of Abacha junta. And since they ran away, Tinubu and co, they all ran away. Some of the journalists like myself now, you say, if there was blogging back then, I would have been one of the bloggers that would running away from Abacha because I'm talking about Yoruba this, Yoruba that. Abiola must be freed. Same way we are talking about Nnamdi Kanu must be free. This must be free. But the difference is this. When 1999 came, they saw the opportunity. They quickly pushed them. Since they are the people are reading from. Dele Momodu said, Kudirat Radio, Tinubu said from London, in exile, Tinubu sent message of New Year to people, that kind of things. Started giving, they were the people available. So they presented themselves. Yorubas quickly embraced them. And it wasn't a hard job at all. Many of them had nothing. Tifnumbu, it was Benga Daniel that gave Tifnumbu the car Tifnumbu used on the day of his inauguration as the governor of Lagos State. These were guys who were like, okay, people were going to, so let's go back, democracy, But they had 4 years and they said nothing about Yoruba. They did nothing about Yoruba. They just kept the status quo. Even though, credit to them, they give free education. Okay? It was easier. It's going to be free education. And there was free education across all the Yoruba land, courtesy of the AD. Right? But the people who got sacked, simply because of the arrogance of different AD governors, right? They have a story to tell. However, they lost power after 4 years. Then they started remembering Yoruba again, right? Yoruba this, Yorubas are, PDP is this, they are thieves, they are this and that, And the PDP too, who are Yorubas as well, they are Yorubas. But the Tifnumbu and gang, with the Lagos money, they were able to continue to project every Yoruba PDP as a pro-Nigeria, a supporter of Northern Nigeria. So somehow, the PDP too, they were misbehaving as a bunch of thieves. You know them all. The criminals who sold lies to us as Yorubas, sold lies to your uncles, my uncles. Some of those uncles, they are still here now. They are still talking about pro-Yoruba, Yoruba, but they don't believe in it as such because these guys don't. So something happened in 2011. It was the moment that they believed that, this is another window. Let's tell the Yorubas that we have found another solution because we can actually take over Nigeria for ourselves. The idea came in 2011 when Jonathan sent the presidential jet to bring Tinubu from Lagos down to Abuja. And that was the moment Jonathan was trying to succeed Yaradua. And he needed something strong from the southwest, because the north, it wasn't so kind of sure they would give him that vote then. Tifnumbu was promoting, I think it was a Ribadu as the ACN candidate. Meanwhile, he was meeting with Jonathan to continue as president. From the grapevine, that kind of arrangement is not going to be cheap. Of course, it wasn't cheap, right? And he cut his deal then. That gave him an idea the kind of man Jonathan was. And I was like, this guy is a weak guy. He got his money. He flew back to Lagos. And then he delivered. He fulfilled his part of the deal. That was the moment ACN managed to finally found their way into other part of Yoruba land again, starting with Osun. Then Tifnumbu decided to take Yorubas to APC with the arrangement, or with the belief that maybe Bokwari will buy, and it will be like Yaradua Jonathan case again, and it will be their turn. Do you know what they told Yorubas when they want to drag them into that arrangement? We need to restructure Nigeria. The same thing they told the Yorubas in 1999. But guess what? Something also happened. When Jonathan now won the election, they said Jonathan is from the Niger Delta, South. His deputy, Namadi Sambo, is from, where's Sambo from again? I don't know, Kaduna. And then they said the Senate president, should go to the north. So David Mark probably will pick that up. The speakership should go back to Yoruba land. Mulika Takonde. How many of you know that story? Mulika Takonde, honorable from Osun State, was nominated by PDP to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives, a Yoruba woman. Tifnumbu and gang decided not to go to ACN candidate. They didn't go to ACN candidate in Abuja to oppose and be speaker and pick a Yoruba man or woman from Yoruba land, from ACN. No, you know what Tinubu and gang did? They went for Tambua. They went for Tambua from Sokoto. Tifnumbu and gang moved money, and the members convinced, since Tambua is a PDP member, he already has friends in PDP. All he needs is just some supporters from ACN, and he can be and defeat the Yoruba woman that they nominated for speakership. And Tifnumbu and gang, they celebrated it. Yes, because they will later use that against their agenda of 2015 to tell the Yorubas, what is your gain now in PDP? What is your gain in Nigeria? From number 1 to number 4, you are not in number 1 to number 4. And that's what the Yorubas are repeating. Some of these, my brothers and sisters who have fallen for their lies. Meanwhile, they can't figure it out why things are not working, despite believing all the lies. Yorubas moved against a Yoruba woman from becoming the Speaker of House of Representatives, because Tifnumbu and gang have their own agenda. What was the agenda? They will tell the Yorubas, you are not in number 1 to 4. But I have a deal for you, Yoruba. We are going to start a new party. We are going to meet Buhari, and Yorubas is going to be number 2. I'm going to make sure you become number 2 in Nigeria. And it worked among their crooks and the gullible ones that listen to them. It worked. I don't know what they are going to tell you for 2023 that you are going to believe, but I have an idea that since they know that the whole thing has scattered now, Buhari has managed to expose the whole rot. The question should be, which of their lies are you prepared to fall for again? People are saying, listen, if to say Nigeria is a place, if you look inward, same way I told people that the Igbos are the enemies of the Igbos, before the outside enemies could gain entrance and penetrating and harm you, there would be no way the enemies without will penetrate you without the enemies within. It is the same thing for us in Yoruba land. There is no injustice that we complain about today. There is no amount of, kind of underdevelopment that we complain about today that Nigeria has brought upon us. None of this is the, what do you call it? It's caused by those from outside Yoruba land without the consent of those in Yoruba land. So if you pay attention very well. So that's why we said, if to say Nigeria is a place, if to say these guys have been honest enough, 22 years, they could have made the job easier now for an average Yoruba man or woman to be proud enough to say, whatever I do, it will be Yoruba first. We have no political power. Do you get that now? They play a lot of games. Most of these games, they get away with them because of our short memories. People have told me that not until they started listening to MaiyegundsDiary Politico, they are not really interested in politics, that they never really thought how effective understanding politics help in understanding politicians who choose to always play on your emotions most of the time. If you understand the politics, if you understand the way they act, you are likely never going to continue to fall for the way they play you, because it's the same thing again and again. Short memories about it. Once you're not interested in it. When I said politics affect everything we do, politics is why majority of us are outside Nigeria today. Political decisions of the criminals of the past or present is the reason why many of us are currently out of job today. Yes, political decisions of some of these guys, past and present, is why many of us are dead today. Some things are not natural. Some of them are not because of God. They are man-made. Because there's a way it affects everything. And when things changes, humans always try to find a way around it, to adapt or to escape it. Somehow, humans always find a way. That is why you need to understand politics, so that your emotion doesn't take most part of you. It's important. They played us, and they will tell you they are speaking for you. See, listen, somebody will tell you, if it is not because of Tinubu and his political team, only God knows where the Yorubas will be today. Listen to me. If they were not there at all, Yorubas will probably be better off than we are today. Because we will likely not get tamed by them that are benefiting from the rot, while we are the victim of it. It was from 1999 that they knew that the 1999 Constitution is a problem. They knew that the 1999 Constitution was a decree, military decree. It wasn't the people's constitution. But somehow, it kind of worked for them. Somehow, if you think it very well. And it is better to cooperate with others when they try to change any part of the decree to something that will work for them, but not for you. For 22 years, why do you think it is strange and it's becoming, or let me say, it becomes so hard to convince a brother or a sister in Yoruba land that it is either the Yoruba part away with Nigeria or the current arrangement is renegotiated, and those who care for Yoruba should champion that when they have the chance, when they have the power, when they have the wherewithal to do it now, not when they are out of it. Why do you think that is difficult to say to an average Yoruba man and woman, and they will take it with easy qualm? Why do you think it's hard? Because those who told the Yorubas that that was their agenda, the agenda to bring prosperity, development, and safety to the Yoruba people in that same Nigeria, they failed them and they started talking about something else, about power and power. But look at it this way: 22 years, they had no idea of how to build one common developmental goal and pursue it for the people and the sake of these people of the Yoruba land. When they say no electricity, you find that in Yoruba land. When they say no employment, joblessness, you find that in Yoruba land. When you want to see the poor, terrible, poorly educated people, and then graduates that are unemployable, right? You find them in their thousands in Yoruba land. And these are the awaiting time bomb that the fact that they have failed to bring this upon Yoruba people, right? Terrible roads, terrible hospitals, bad schools, terrible agriculture that they even talk about all the time, something that you have the land there, and you ask yourself, why is this so difficult, right, for the Yoruba people to grow our own food enough to become so significant for the rest of the world to know that, wow, look at that amount of food production coming out of Yoruba land? Because they choose to underdevelop Yoruba land. And even when they claim to be incapacitated, did you see them make any move that is in the interest of the development of Yoruba land? Of course not, except if you are lying to yourselves. It didn't take Awolowo 22 years to do all he did, even without oil money, because it wasn't taking allocation from anywhere called federal government. It was asking Yoruba people to build Yoruba land because it made them believe in the Yoruba land, which is their land that they could make great. But look at these criminals. They want you to believe in Nigeria, to make Nigeria great. And you ask yourself, what is Nigeria? When the component part of Nigeria is in dereliction, is in complete state of disrepair, is in total desolation, and then the poverty capital of the world. What are you making great when the criminals who made this, who brought them to this state, are still at work and they are not ready to make any changes? How do you make Nigeria great when Yoruba land is poor? So for 22 years, they couldn't build that synergy. They couldn't build that cooperation. They couldn't do anything. They are pointed to say they represented us in 22 years. Now it's hard to tell a Yoruba man that it is better you do away with that constitution and don't join them in any bogus election, because it is just a validation for the same underdevelopment that you are dealing with today. If it is not because of identity crisis, you should, if you are going for any election, if Nigeria was a place, if these guys, old men now, look at them, old men. Oshoba was governor in 1999. For that 4 years that he was governor, he later came and he supported the guy called Amosun. Amosun spent 8 years. He used most part of that to disgrace Oshoba and to undermine him until Oshoba ended up with, Oshumbade and Co., who brought them Dapo Abiodun. Now, for 22 years that they have all been in charge of that Ogun state, were minus 8 years of Benga Daniel. When Oshoba needed medical treatment, a former governor of a whole state, he came to London to come and get that medical treatment. Same thing happened to Tinubu. Lagos State is considered as the mega slum of, mega city of Africa. Okay, sorry if I pronounce that in Ibadan, what do you call it, Ibadan dialect. So mega city, that's what we call it. I call Lagos the mega slum. Okay, so for 22 years, that Tinubu has made sure that those that succeeded him, they continue to push what they call the Lagos master plan. The Lagos master plan didn't have any viable hospital that could take care of him. in times of a medical emergency. They had to fly him to the UK and to America for an operation, and then to the UK for recuperation for 22 years. That is their legacy. So if you go, normally, if they did their job, yeah, the Yoruba-ness in you would have possibly made you promote those that will build things that will keep and care for all Yorubas in Yoruba land. That was what Awolowo did. That's what I'm saying. If they did their job, and the reason why it's difficult is because those who told you that they will do that, Tinubu and Go, Afenifere, Nadeko, and all these guys, yeah, they are now those in power. Now that they are not doing it, when you go into any election thinking you are going into election as a Nigerian, as a Yoruba man, who want to vote for a Yoruba man who is going to build Nigeria and the rest of that, you are selling yourself a mirage. You are selling your children a mirage. You are even wasting the future. If you are a young person watching me right now, you are wasting your future for something that they know is complete fraud. Why should you do that? 22 years, they did not ask that the constitution of Nigeria should be banned, because it never serves the interest of the Yoruba people. I'm a Yoruba man, and if I'm a governor, I once told people, I said, if I happen to be a governor of, if I'm going to be involved in any politics, right, it's always going to be Ogun State, when they still use states, okay? And if I'm going to ever be involved in their politics, yeah, it is always going to be about Yoruba land. And this kind of conversation and possibility are the likelihood of the bright minds of Yorubas all over the world, right? We eventually get involved in what is called the political participation. Very important. It's called political participation. I'm not saying run for office or anything. No, I'm saying if it is not because of identity crisis, right? As a Yoruba man, right? It should be easier for me to pull my resources, to give my support to a political party that says Yoruba Nationalist Party, for example. Because I won't expect a Yoruba Nationalist Party to be promoting one Nigeria. That would be absurd. It will be weird, won't it? Now, because my identity is Yoruba, and I want that respected, Nigeria took that away from me. Now, a Yoruba man will tell you, my friend, that doesn't matter, because Nigeria told him it doesn't matter. The Tinubu and Co, who were championing Yoruba this, Afenifere, Nadeko this, Yoruba activists, Yoruba politics, you know what I mean? Are now championing one Nigeria, because it pays the bill. Then it steals the future from the young ones. Everything that we could tap into, we have been limited from doing so. And right before our eyes, they are being exploited, and you don't even have anybody to push back. So if I'm going to ever get involved in any of their politics, right? Let's say I'm a candidate of a Yoruba Nationalist Party. If I knock your door and I say, oh, Lema, orúkọ mi ni Badero Olúṣọlá, èmi ni olùdíje fún ipò gómìnà fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí. Mo fẹ́ sọ fún yín pé èyí tó ṣe kókó jù nínú agenda wa òun ni pé gbogbo nǹkan tó bá ti jẹ́ ti Yorùbá, tó ti ní ṣe pẹ̀lú Yorùbá ló láti jẹ wá lógún. A pè ní Yorùbá first. Àkọ́kọ́ bẹ̀ ni pé ẹ̀kọ́ Yorùbá ó jẹ wá lógún, ní èyí tó túmọ̀ sí pé kì í fi fún àwọn ọmọ wa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní ẹ̀kọ́ ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ tó péye, ìmọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀ tó mú ọgbọ́n dání, tó lè jẹ́ kí wọ́n ìrònú pé báwo làwọn tún ṣe lè tayọ àwọn tí wọ́n tó ṣáájú wọn. You know, a fẹ́ ṣe ètò ìlera ti ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, kì í ṣe ètò ìlera ti ilẹ̀ bòmíì. A fẹ́ ṣe ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ti ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, kì í ṣe ti ilẹ̀ bòmíì. A fẹ́ kí ọmọ Yorùbá kí ó pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n ó gbé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ga ní ọ̀nà àrà oríṣiríṣi, débi pé a fẹ́ ṣọ̀nà ni o, a fẹ́ ṣomi ni o, a fẹ́ ṣe iná ni o, a fẹ́ kọ̀wé ni o, a fẹ́ kọ́lé ni o, a fẹ́ ṣe gbá, a fẹ́ ṣàwo ni o. Ẹ jẹ́ kí ọmọ Yorùbá feel attached mọ́ nǹkan tí ó ń ṣe fún ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, because ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ló ti wá. Ṣé ẹ dìbò fún mi tí mo bá ní pé bí mo ṣe ń jáde yìí? Because tí ẹ bá dìbò fún mi, àwọn ètò yẹn rèé o. Irú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tó yẹ ká máa gbére o. Irú ẹ̀kọ́ tó yẹ ká máa kọ́ rèé o. right? Somebody like me will be involved in that, and then nobody will arrest me and say, why are you a member of Yoruba Nationalist Party? Why are you not talking about Arise or compatriots? And I'll tell you, are you normal? You as a Yoruba man, a Yoruba woman, you can indeed feel some attachment. Look at what they forced on you. PDP, APC. Go and join them if you want to make any difference. If you don't like what is going on, go and start a political party and join them. In a rigged system, that those who are benefiting today are going to start shouting Yorubas are being marginalized in the next couple of months. Just wait for it, because I know that's going to be the end result. You know, so somebody said that I am not realistic. It's just an opinion. You probably have more realistic ideas than myself. Did you get that now? It is not realistic to have your own political party in a system that recognizes you as a partner in the project called a country. Listen to this. Okay, I think I get that. Maybe I didn't get that quite well. You are quite not happy that I'm speaking Yoruba, yeah? Well, I have no apology for that, okay? Sometimes when I speak this Yoruba, yeah, if I actually want to make it something everybody should hear, right? Of course, I kind of break it down, okay? But normally, you should never feel offended if you started the broadcaster with me. I told people that when I present this, I'm going to present this because I want to talk to my Yoruba brothers and sisters to make them understand why it is always going to be a better alternative, right, to chase and pursue the Yoruba agenda if they can at least stop the identity crisis. Okay, so I have no what do you call it? Then somebody said they campaign for no election. Of course, there's a campaign for no election. That means there are people who are reasonable, by the way, when it comes to the campaign for no election. Okay, you have to tell people why they should boycott election, which is exactly what I am doing right now. Okay, when you tell people no election, you have to give them the reasons why. Number one, the people who are going to push you into an election we know is just a validation, right? And at the same time, the system, the same constitution that is meant to probably organize the best, a kind of a fair election for you is a rigged one. You didn't put that in place. So why participate in an election that will produce the same results? I couldn't say it more than that, okay? Because I won't say, oh, we need to stop people from election, right? For those of you who want to be reasonable enough, okay? I'm not talking about those of you whose emotion may be running riot, okay? Or who probably won't like it the way I'm actually saying it. But again, I don't have any apology for you, okay? But being reasonable here, when you talk about rights, it is your right to say we want Yoruba nation. It is our right, and we shouldn't be hunted down for it. Everybody condemns it, okay? It is our right to say, oh, we will not participate in an election that is a sham. And in fact, we will protest it. It is also our right. It is not our right to stop others who want to participate in an election. And to some of you, that is inconvenient. And it is called inconvenient truth. When you say where your right stops is where other people's right starts. You should always have that at the back of your mind. That as you have right to fight for something, yeah, same way you don't want to be interrupted with it, yeah, is what you cannot interrupt others too. I hope that is very clear. Now, we have this technique of persuasion. The technique of persuasion is that you let people see reason why it is not worth it. Now, if you manage which is the goal, to get enough people to say, indeed, this doesn't make any sense. Why should we participate in an election that, number one, you cannot verify that those they claim to register are indeed registered voters? They can't be verified. And the imbalance in the whole registration process and the rest of that, including the conduct of the election, many reasons, yeah, that they said transferring an election or what, transferring election result and the rest of that are completely all rigged. So why should you participate? Now, if you get enough people to say, you know what, we don't want to participate in this election, we are going to protest, you are supposed to be allowed. You can be 1 million, you can be 2 million, you are meant to be out there. Now, if you now push enough, right, you will achieve two things. One, there could be an immediate constitutional reform that we have to redesign how your election is conducted. Two, or they have to design an electoral reform for this particular one until you are satisfied that, yes, okay, we can send in people we know we can vote and fight for this and that for us. So don't always let emotion of what you want be cloud how sometimes logically things are going to be. That's why they say if wishes were horses. Many of us will wish that a group rise up tomorrow. I'm not going to diss myself, not a group. Let's say, for example, you have the Yoruba governors, for example, who rise up tomorrow and say, you know what, we are parting ways with Nigeria. Well, that's a wish because it doesn't work that way. We know how they got there. We know the system they operate. We know the system works for them. We know they will defend the system. And if I'm trying to tell people why an election is not an option, that doesn't mean that I have the capacity to stop them. Okay? So I don't get ruled by emotion. I have to say that very clear. So if it doesn't sound good to you, well, I have no apology for you. I hope you find a better way somewhere else. In my own opinion, Yorubas who are attached to these guys that they see, and we know since they control the leverage of power, they are at it again. Yeah? But some said, maybe when people, as much as the awareness is now ongoing, that we know that Nigeria is just at the verge of, boom. Yeah? It is good that somehow people are understanding why it is a waste of time. Number one, to think you can still probably join them and make Nigeria work. That is never going to happen. Because if you ever want to say Nigeria should work, the only option is that you would have to break it up. Do you understand? Breaking it up in this sense is this. Everyone will have to take their own destiny in their own hands, just same way people are demanding today. That gives them the opportunity to say, you know what? We don't have to blame anyone else for our problem anymore. Swim, sink, or sail, we will have to deal with our own problems. Now, to arrive at that, you need the people on your side. Somebody said every time you keep talking about we need the people on your side. I said, well, if you are in a hurry, why don't you go and declare the Dual Republic right now? I mean, some of you may even have the capacity. You know what I mean? If you follow how people want things to happen. But most of these things, logically, they don't make sense. But when you try to present a logical things, it's too long, it's too much. My God, this one is too much. I have my friends who believe that all we need is just to start, boom, 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 start doing all of that. And I'm like, maybe you should start. Don't expect somebody to start. You know, when you feel like, I remember when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was still with Masob. I don't know if many of you still remember that, but, a regular, what do you call it, an original IPOB member will remember that it was Masob. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was with Masob, according to him, he was becoming the voice of the movement, but he realized that externally, people see Masob as a Biafran agitator and all of that. Some of their members have been arrested and some of them have been locked up in jail. Some people were even killed for being a member of Masob. But he saw differently. It was like the mission of these guys is not so different from the kind of socio-political organizations like Ohaneze, Afenifere, and all this. They are open to kind of political conversation, negotiation, and all that. And that won't push us anywhere. He wanted a radical way. He wanted a radical way. You know what he did? He did not fight Masob. He did not do anything. What he did, he went on and he started IPOB. For 10 years, he kept talking to people. He kept passing on his own teachings. Some of them that got many people angry because they're like, why would you say that to us? Why would you say that about us? And in 10 years, he brought that Biafran struggle back to the forefront. I'm saying it to you now. Sometimes you forget the fact that the chance you have having a chat like this is that you have an idea, but you also need to do that thing that you also wish. We should be talking about how to declare Yoruba nation. I've just told you how to do it. But it's going to be a long one, isn't it? Maiyegun, that one is too long. We need the action. We need boys. How about you start it? That's the best way. You know, sometimes the best way to say things is to do them. But some of us logically knows that even at that, you are still going to end up trying to do everything to win the people on your side. So that when you found yourself on that negotiation table, you can say, I am speaking for them. I am fighting for them. Do you get what I mean now? So don't always wish that somebody is going to do it for you, okay? Now, one moment. I don't know why you guys are fighting yourself, but I don't know. But I'm going to open the line, okay? If there's anything you feel like is missing, right? There's a number on your screen, okay? You can use that, all right? In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Because it's like I'm reading your comments and I can see all of you tearing yourselves and I could manage to answer a few I could, but it seems not working. I would rather let you come here, especially those of you who feel like, you know, maybe Maiyegun is even talking rubbish. I like people saying it to my face. I hope you are lucky or you get lucky to phone in. So the line will be opened in a minute. Give me a sec. I'm going to take my usual tea break. Yeah. Sorry. So, you know, I got a few calls there that got disconnected, by the way. Sorry, I keep using so I got a comment where somebody was, you know, where people like something, they always love to throw jabs at themselves. For example, what are you doing to get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu released? Or, my friend, what are you doing? Or why don't you go and do something to get Igboho released? Sometimes, for some of you who don't know, right, these are actually foolish talks. Because you see, the person you are telling to go and get Igboho out is not involved in his legal team, or the person you are telling to go and get Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out just because you disagree with them on Facebook, on social media. It's absolute foolish talk. But some of you kind of like that, you know. You like it. My friend, shut up. Go and do everything to release Igboho. Identity crisis, which probably makes some of you too. I read there somewhere where some said that, oh, they pushed Igboho. Oh, they have pushed Nnamdi Kanu. These are dumb talks. And sometimes when you see people who make all these statements, they look like grown-ups, but they are really, really dumb. Because except for the fact that typical Nigerians would love, you know what I mean, would love to try to take a jibe in someone else's problems in order to make themselves feel good. You know that those you say to on social media to go and get Nnamdi Kanu out, they can't get him out. In fact, they are meant to be celebrated. The fact that so many people have dedicated their time, their resources, their lives to organizing different awarenesses and protests all over the world. Some of them have never met Nnamdi Kanu, they've never met Igboho, and some of them will never meet Nnamdi Kanu, many of them will never meet Igboho. But they dedicated their resources to bring the world attention. They are not lawyers. They are not people who are going to break into any prison to get them out. You know where they are. You know who are holding them. You know those who are trying to get them out. You know the roadblocks they are facing. And you know all about this. But somehow, you are still going to foolishly say, go, what are you doing? What are you doing to get our leader out? What do you want him to do? To what? To break the prison? Eh? Foolish. Hello there. Let me see if that connects, by the way. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I was having problem with this line, but I don't know if you can hear me. Can you?
Hello. Hey.
Man, the line is terrible. Yeah. Can you hear me? No. Okay, let me try another one. Keep trying, please. I don't know what happened to your line. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me, Maiyegun?
I can hear you loud and clear.
I don't talk and say now me go be the first to call since yesterday.
So now you're just catch that my first caller because the line no clear.
Honestly, Maiyegun, in fact.
Good evening, sir.
In fact, God go bless your wisdom. You tried it. You see, yesterday and today, oh boy. In fact, you speak the mind of millions. Beyond what most of the people, what they talk about. You see, this identity crisis that you're talking about, I don't think a lot of people understand what we mean. And I believe if some of them could listen to this your broadcast this night, then they should begin to understand the reason why some of us are fanatical when it comes to Yoruba. Stuff. Brother, let's think about this thing. Forget about Africa. Let's go to European. The population. What is the population of Bulgaria? What is population of Kosovo? What is population of Serbia? What is population of Montenegro? What is population of Poland? What is population of Czech Republic? What is population of Hungary? put all these things, all these areas, put them together. What is their population? Then now tell me, 50 years ago, where are they when Yoruba was Yoruba? Do you know that Turkey of today, just started building their metro line about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Brother.
Niger Republic has no train up to this day. Do you know that?
No. Let's forget about Africa. We are talking about advanced world. Advanced world. Come to Lebanon. Do they have? They don't have. Now, when we talk of independence, how I wish all this Baba, all this coconut head that we call leaders. Sorry the way I'm talking this night. My voice cracked when I was singing. That's why. So now all these Baba that have used the name of Yoruba to become something. How I wish they can just sit down, look at their children in the eye, and remember that 50 years ago, 50 years coming, what would Yoruba people be? Do you know that Turkey, Istanbul, the whole Istanbul, usually belongs to Greek and Albanian? Today, go back there, you can never find a single Christian there anymore. They were slaughtered one by one and being taken over by Muslims, by Arabs. The reason why you see that is the major obstacle why Turkish have not been joined European. That is the reason why the European blocked them not to join since 40 years ago. Now, we are talking about, look at what Awolowo did. Brother, I think I've told you in your program before. I said when I was small, I used to hate Awolowo. It's one of my uncle who called me, who said, never in your life speak against Awolowo. He brought a book and gave me that book. I was at GSS 1 there. Brother, I read that book halfway. From that day, my mind changed towards Awolowo. Do you know the reason why I was angry? Because I thought the story that I used to hear is that cocoa, there is the Ondo State and Ekiti cocoa that they used to build cocoa house in Ibadan and all those Ibadan. And I was so boiling that how did they neglect and they were building all those. Brother, now that I now started traveling 20 years ago, my eyes see a lot, and I know that it was part of development. But how did the Yoruba sons lost their glory to a stranger? Brother, it's a shame.
It is convenient for a Yoruba man to be speaking at the top of his voice, fighting for Nigeria. But when you bring a topic of Yoruba to him, his voice will go down. And it will just be like,
before why? A lot of people are waiting, brother. There was a man who suggested something on Heritage TV. That man who used to do a program like you. And that program that the man suggested was so perfect. I was even waiting. He said they want to start Yoruba consular.
Right.
In London, and they can be issued ID card and whatever.
Okay.
I was expecting that to tell you that all those information that we are getting, the one that are valuable, I don't delete it. Brother, that man only pronounced it, but he couldn't achieve. I think by and by I forgot. Brother, put it, add it to your agenda. Let us start something.
See, it's even easy. It's even easy.
Me.
Yeah, it's even easy. What I was proposing, what I was proposing initially was that G7 this and that, right? But I've come up with an idea.
That's why I'm telling you, add it to your program now. We can start something like that.
No, I mean, I wanted to say to you, hang on for a minute, yeah? I wanted to say to you that we can call a meeting in London or Manchester, meet midway. where everybody will just,
Yes.
you know, on a day. So if we come up with a day for our people in London and Manchester, and they call all the Yorubas in the UK, even if it's just going to be 20 people that will show up, 200 people, 1,000, maybe we can start something. But we need something.
Expect 5 people. 5 people. Then when we start, the rest of them, when they see the benefit of it, then they can start joining. Because there's something I want to tell you. There's some countries, association, especially Poland, association in this country. Brother, they are like Jews. They are unbreakable. The crime they have committed in UK alone is enough for them to exterminate all their names and wipe them off from the UK. Do you forget they used to talk about them before? How do they go about it? Brother, it's all these things. Some people negotiate and make sure those things go away. I won't say much.
Thank you so
because
much.
This night, I give it to you. Let me give other people.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
brother.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I have another caller on the line. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Ma. How are you?
Yes, I'm blessed. And you?
I'm very well, Ma. Thanks for asking. So you are live.
Thank you so much for the wonderful job that you are doing. And it is well appreciated.
Thank you, Ma.
You know, let's start with the youth. Sometimes I just wonder what happens to Yoruba youth. Are they sleepy? What happens to them? Because to their face, their destiny already have been mortgaged. And they just fold their hands and watch somebody mortgaging their lives, their future, the future of their generation. And it's like, I want to make a decision for ye. They are packing their bags. They are ready to leave.
That's right.
Because somebody told you what 80, 70, can you Pharaoh?
I wonder.
These are the people that are old. You can judge from the interview. He was only talking about Malu, Ojono, Malu, rural grazing age. That's all. Because their brain is analog. They cannot think fast
anymore.
And the Yoruba youth, they just, for me, the way Timofin is as if Yoruba youth, now some of them are waking up, but at the same time, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because if they are doing, I want to low country.
That's right.
I want to get and education Baba Wolowo. I want to get. Ní ìgbà tí Nigeria celebrate independence ní 1970 tó pé ọdún mẹ́wàá. Anybody tó wà ní Nigeria gbà yẹn ní school. Wọ́n ṣe oúnjẹ fún gbogbo wa lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ ni wọ́n fún wa ní drinks everything. That was Nigeria tí a mọ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Now everything is going backward. Ọmọ ilé wọn ti ń jẹ gbogbo. The mineral resources tó wà nílẹ̀ wọ́n ti ń tà fáwọn foreigners. And àwọn ọmọ ètò káwọ́ gbénú wọ́n jáde university wọn ò ríṣẹ́. Wọ́n ní kán lọ dáko, wọ́n tún bọ́ sóko, wọ́n tún pa wọ́n mọ́ko. It is a shame ipe nígbà tí ìyá mi tó máa gbà láàrú. Àwọn ìyá wa máa ń sọ yí pé táwọn bá gbà láàrú kọ́ mọ àwọn máa gbà láàrú. Wọ́n á lọ sí oko, wọ́n á dúró lójú títì nínú oòrùn, nínú òjò. If you go to Nigeria or let's say Yoruba land, lójú títì, you can see all those old women tí wọ́n ń ta ọjà.
That's right.
Tí wọ́n ń fi owó ọjà yìí rán ọmọ lọ sí ilé ẹ̀kọ́, lọ sí yunifásítì, lọ sí kínní with the mindset pé tí ọmọ yìí bá jáde, àwọn á bọ́ nínú oko ìyà yìí, ọmọ yìí á sọjọ́. Ọmọ yìí jáde kò sọjọ́. Because ó jáde kò ní ṣẹ́. Ó rìn kiri. Meanwhile, few people, 1%, wọ́n gba owó orí àwọn ọmọ yìí, wọ́n fi ń ṣe ara rẹ̀. Àwọn ẹ̀dẹ̀ tún ń wò pé, are we going to continue like this? Are they ready to continue like this? Ìgbà wo ni àwọn ìyá yìí fẹ́ jẹun ọmọ? Our youth need to wake up. This so-called election, every 4 years, one man scam money, and you can see pé recycling sakuni.
That's true.
Àwọn olóṣì arúgbó tó yẹ kó àtọkùnmákò àmọ̀nàrúnmá lọ yẹn, wọ́n recycle ẹ̀, wọ́n bá tún kúrò, wọ́n á tún fọmọ wọn sí, wọ́n sì sọ di family enterprises, and wọ́n dìbò. Ìbò òṣìwò náà ń dì. Ìbò wọn ò ní mí ni. There is no point. Because it makes no sense. Wọ́n lọ ń dìbò. Nígbà tán bá lọ dìbò, ilẹ̀ ó ti kọ result already. So why wasting your time? And is it going to continue like this? Because up to today, that's why táwọn ọmọ yóò ríṣẹ́. Àwọn ìyá wọn sì tún ń struggle láti rán ọmọ wọn lọ sí school because believe Yorùbá nìyẹn.
That's right.
Ipe tí mo bá rán ọmọ mi lọ sílé ẹ̀kọ́, tí mo bá jìyà rán lọ sílé ẹ̀kọ́, á padà wá sọjọ́, òun ló máa gbaṣọ ìyà yẹn lọ́rùn ìyá. Believe àwọn ìyá wa nìyẹn.
That is right.
But why làwọn ọmọ ìfẹ́ gbaṣọ yìí lọ́rùn ìyá ẹ̀? Wọ́n jáde school, wọ́n á tún wà nínú ilé. Tó bá ti wá dìgbà election, àwọn olùṣí onísàkámàjẹ yẹn, wọ́n á jáde, wọ́n wá máa fi calling card 500, 200, wọ́n máa fi tù wọ́n lójú. And àwọn náà tún máa gbà. It's a shame on them. They create this poverty.
They did.
And they came under the pretense of we are the savior. May Shango strike all of them.
You say.
Let me get off this.
So I will take another one there. So thank you so much once again for calling in as usual. So thank you so much, ma'am. Now let's go on to hang on. Right. I've got another caller. Hello.
Hello, Maiyegun. I'm glad I'm able to get in. Over 40 try. Okay, Maiyegun. I am happy too.
Fantastic.
Èmi fẹ́ sọ another point of view.
Okay, ma.
Number one, ó jẹ́ kẹ́rí pé àwọn Fúlàní wọ́n smart ju Yorùbá lọ. Wọ́n dẹ̀ rí Tinubu ní political monger. Wọ́n take advantage of him. Number one, wọ́n ti lọ gbé Ìbẹ̀jú Lẹ́kì, wọ́n ti lọ Dangote ti ra gbogbo bẹ̀. Ó ń ṣe refinery bẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ó ti ní port bẹ̀. Number two, wọ́n tún ti ṣí bí rice mill company sí Ìkòròdú. Number three, wọ́n ti ṣí gold mining company sí Ọ̀ṣun. Àwọn people is smart. Wọ́n rí pé elébi ni wá. Nǹkan mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta tó ṣe yẹn, Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kó lè jẹ́ ká lọ. Because báwo ló ṣe máa lọ nǹkan tí mò ń sọ go and Google it. Báwo ló ṣe máa lọ ṣí gold mining country sí Ọ̀ṣun company sí Ọ̀ṣun nígbà kan ní gold ní Sàfàrà. Àti rogo. Wọ́n tún wá mú Ìbẹ̀jú Lẹ́kì. Amos bí ṣe hate ẹ̀ tó for the main fact pé kò tiẹ̀ gbà fún ọkọ sí ìfẹ́rárì sí Ìjẹ̀bú Òde yẹn ó dùn mọ́ mi nú gan ni. Wọ́n wá ti rí pé Tinubu olè ni. Wọ́n rí pé kò nọpọlọ tó lè fi kó gbogbo àwọn Yorùbá tó náwó bíi ti ẹ̀jọ́. Kọ́ sí kìíní yẹn wọ́n take advantage pé ṣe bó fẹ́ joyè ni àwọn á dín pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ wọ́n lọ ṣe. Ṣé kò tún tí Yorùbá tó ti lè ṣí rice company sí Ìkòròdú tó ti máa process rice? Dangote tó ló ṣí yẹn. Dangote wà nítorí tó ń pa wọ́n. Cement company tí àwọn lọ́wọ́ ṣí sí Ìṣàgámù wọ́n ti bàjẹ́. Wọ́n wọlé sí wa lára ẹni. Wọ́n wọlé sí wa lára dáadáa. Àwa ń wò, wọ́n wá ń tọ́ Tinubu pé àwọn fẹ́ kó débẹ̀. Wọ́n wá ń sọ fún Tinubu pé àwọn ò mind the Muslim ticket. Wọ́n wá ju North sí Vice President Tinubu. Wọ́n wá tún wá mú Speaker of the House. Wọ́n tún mú House Senate. Wọ́n á máa rotate between Fulani àbíkọ́ tuntun Yíbò lójú. So that tó bá ti Tinubu bá ṣe mistake tó bá wọbẹ̀ mi ò lè wọbẹ̀ bọ̀ tó bá ṣe mistake wọ́n á yá mú tí wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé kò lè gbádùn mọ́. Ta ló máa wọlé yẹn? Maiyegun sọ fún mi.
Fulani ni.
Thank you because mo fẹ́ sọ nìyẹn.
So ẹni pé èsúrú fẹ́ pàdídà ó fẹ́ lé ajá ṣe rántí pé àwọn Tinubu ni wọ́n rò pé táwọn bá partner Buhari oyè yín sìn Ọ̀ṣínbàjò tí Buhari bá pa Ọ̀ṣínbàjò akàn débẹ̀ ni Yorùbá débẹ̀. So what then sọ sí ni pé èsúrú kan ti fẹ́ padà kọ́lọ̀ máa yẹ kó débẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ yẹn náà ṣá.
Wọ́n smart jù wá lọ. Wọ́n ti ráǹdì wa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Wọ́n ti mú gbogbo resources ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wọ́n ti tọwọ́ bọ̀. Torí pé a fẹ́ jẹ president America ṣá, a fẹ́ jẹ president Nàìjíríà ṣá. Okay, hold on.
Thank you so much. More like it. What do you call it? Madam, yeah, right? Now I will explain this one.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, ma. So I will explain this. I will explain this in English for the sake of because it's very vital information she just shared there, and I love the fact that she dropped it in Yoruba. By the way, okay. Again, no apology. And then I will interpret. Okay, what she said there was that we should think as Yoruba people. They've already sold Ibejuleki to Dangote, and it's very close to the sea, which means he has his own port there. So Dangote refinery will have their own private seaport. Dangote has also gone to Ikorodu to open a rice mill and all of that there. And the same dam, they have opened up a gold mining company in Osun, owned by these same guys. Now, the question that our lady asked was that, look at Tifnumbu. They are telling him that he's going to be president. They will make him president. While he doesn't have a clue, or he has a clue of what they are doing in Yoruba land. Because if he actually cares for the Yoruba people, yeah, are there no Yorubas that could build refineries in Lagos or any part of Yoruba land that they could raise same money in Yoruba land? Are there no Yorubas who could build the rice mill right there in Ikorodu? Are there no Yorubas who could actually set up that same gold mining company in Osun? Osun is not Zamfara, but everything that comes to that of Yoruba land, she also said, look at the cement company that Awolowo was set up in Ishagamu. They have ruined it, destroyed it, and made it unprofitable. So as Yorubas, if you are not thinking, maybe you should start thinking. Whatever Tifnumbu wants, do not make it what you want, because you are not wanting the same thing. As she said, hello.
Hello, Maiyegun.
Hello, sir.
How are you keeping?
I'm surviving. I mean, I'm still here. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, thank you.
Class.
Yes.
Now you are live, please. You are live.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
So my name is Akinola. I'm calling from Kent, and I've spoken to you before.
Go on.
Yeah, fine. The essence of me calling today is that I've looked at some of your past show.
Yeah.
Some of the ones that I missed, yeah.
Right.
And there's a number of issues that I thought you have spoken about. And for example, the infighting. The infighting I noticed is not just only Biafra. It's even within the Yorubas. And I can see how that it is hurting. I know, especially when you are trying to communicate your idea to people, they're not getting it. They infuriated you, and I can see all that. And don't forget, I told you.
I need to get it, to handle it, but I get where you are going. But continue. Okay.
Yeah. So what I was going to say to you, because I knew how, it's not normally how you speak, through the media, but I was just going to say to you that, you see, people are of different creed, and some of the things you're doing, it's not everybody, you're not in the same, when you're talking about it's a temple of truth, like you said.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the spiritual bit of it, they're not in the same frame where you are. I'm saying some of your viewers. So I was just going to say, look, do you really need to respond to some of their, some of their things other than the call?
I'll tell you, Akinola. I'll tell you, right?
Yes.
Normally, I don't. And sometimes when I do, right, it is just to make a part of the whole show kind of communicative. You get what I mean now?
Okay.
Like so that it's not so kind of fixed that is always smiling. You see, before now, Akinola, hey, I wasn't really nice, honestly, right? I say things that after finishing my broadcast, I would just be like, oh man, I really poured it out there. But now I learned how to handle that. But I realized that all those bites sometimes, they are part of what makes it kind of genuine. Yes, you are right. I do get upset, all right? Sometimes I just smile, right? Sometimes I react simply because through that being upset, I can still pass a message that some will get. But I'm with you. Okay.
Okay, fine. So that's one aspect of it.
Thank you.
Then the second aspect is that I said to myself, I think I have to ask Maiyegun a question, and I know the answer. So my question to you is that, Maiyegun, are you afraid?
Am I afraid?
I like that, because I'm talking in the context of one of your programs.
Okay.
It appears that you made a clearing call.
Afraid of what?
I know you're going to say that, and that's where I'm going.
Okay, then. I'll follow through. So, afraid of what?
Okay. What? Yeah, obviously, I know it's a very open question.
It is.
But as someone of your program, I think when you are making a clearing call that, okay, you guys, what do you want to do? Do we, we may need some form of intel. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be me. You understand? You're talking about maybe having a sort of maybe some groups that will be doing some specific things. Yeah, and I was just going to say to you, my response to some of the things you said is that, look, I'm going to talk to you in parables.
Yeah.
Just remember about, Jesus Christ, when, people came to meet him and say, oh, they want to make him king. And Jesus Christ said to them, oh, why are you seeking me? Is it not because of the food which I gave to you? You understand? So where you go? Look, I was going to say to you, look.
Just say it. Okay.
Go for it. What you are doing is you've been feeding people all along. And then at the same time, you're still asking that we need to form a group. I think what I can see here is that it's just like the time is getting right.
Yes, Akinola.
Yes.
I'll answer while you are still on the phone because a lot of people are listening to us. Okay. The first question, to answer the first question now, I can answer that. I am not afraid. Okay.
Good.
I am not afraid.
Good.
And then which now leads us to the second one, why you asked the first one, which was based on I have brought so many ideas, so many things that so many people feels like these are practical ideas. Let's try it, right? But I did something similar. I am somebody who believes that the reason why we can't make our wish happen is because we don't have the political power. We don't have the influence, to be sincere, right? So I decided then to encourage people who disagree with the system, right, to come together, form a political party, participate in an election, cut out money politics. And if any of you could manage to gain access to power, that can be the loophole we need to break into the system, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, before you know it, the whole system will be infiltrated by the people with the idea that is different from all these guys. But it was killed at infantry. Guess what?
Yes.
It was dead before we even start. At the polling booth, right? Our people sold off. So then I figured out my experience was that you can't really manage people if they don't want to be managed. So you have two things. You must either have this iron hand, which gives order with some forceful kind of back into it. And I'm not kind of a forceful person anymore. You get that? So I decided that, okay, I used the persuasion to get people, to do something the last time. If I want to do it this time, I'm going to have to get involved. Then I found out that, Baba, there are people whose ambition, personally, have already been attached to this Yoruba nation. So that's why I offered to always be like a consultant. So when I throw it open, throwing it open to those who are already doing it, trying to tell them that we are not saying you are not doing it right? But you can always do with some help. We are here. I could help, right? But most of the time, like you said, it's not the IPOB that have a small internal issue. That of the Yoruba nation, I choose never to talk about it until when people begin to understand the responsibility that comes with what they are doing, right? I choose not to. But yeah, well, again, talking about time, Akinola, there are people who say, Maiyegun, what is all this story? Just tell us, lead. It is more than that. Before you can lead, and you need people.
In fact, that's where I'm coming. That's where I'm coming, Maiyegun. Yeah, I'm going to say, please make note of my number. You see, the issue at hand, and I will tell you, the issue at hand is a unique issue, because when you look at the scripture, it says there's nothing new under the sun. However, when I say there's nothing new under the sun, you see, the situation of Nigeria is not the first in history. But when I look at that situation very well, it's akin to like what has happened in France in the past. Don't forget about the French Revolution.
I don't.
Then when you turn clearly again, you look around, you see Russia has similar situation like Nigeria. Russia and France, if you look at their civilization, they are the ones that have similar picture to Nigeria. But what is really separating us in Nigeria is that, you see, this country I've mentioned, they speak the same language.
They do.
Yes, the French does, and so is the Russian. You will see how they are, how the noblemen, how they oppress the ordinary citizen. That's in France. The same thing is in Russia. But so the problem we have now is that we are broken down into ethnic groups. You see. Therefore, we don't have that cohesion. No. Even within our ethnic group, people are still infighting, like you can see. You see, and that boils down on our culture. You see, that's why it's very important for people to really understand the history of where they come from. I always talk to you about history. You see, when you understand the Yoruba system clearly, you see that we have fundamental problems. It's not that Yoruba is a great nation. If you look at our history, Yoruba spread from this Nigeria up to like Ghana, Sierra Leone. That's the Yoruba success.
Brazil, and even further. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Historically, that's Yoruba for you. So I understand that very clearly. You see, this movement we are talking about, it's not going to go the way, the way one is expecting, unless you have a very good leadership that understand how to use resources. So that's what the issue is. That's number one. Number two, I know I'm in the air. You see, you have a problem. See, the current leadership we have, and I'm referring to our, with respect, Professor Akil Banji. For me, he's not the leader that will take us to the promised land, but the Lord put him there for a purpose. Reason being that, look, you say I've never met him, and I haven't met what's his name, George Akinola, the one that used to be in the Yoruba Nation.
And then Maxwell, go on.
The Akinola is the architect. But I respect both of them very much. But when you look at the issue that happened, you will see that Papa Gite, obviously, is an intellectual without any doubt. But the way I look at him is his strength is in what he does best, which is the history. You understand? But I would have thought that, you see, Yoruba has historically, we tend to have like, not really unitary, where one person heads an institution, like the Obas, if you remember. But that's why, if you look at Oyomesi, they used to have kings that are so powerful that it needs to be checked. You understand?
Yeah.
It needs to be checked. That's why we have Oyomesi, so that they brought the power of the Oba down. So the way the structure of Yoruba nation is at the moment, you see, people are going by, because somebody is old, therefore he needs to be in this position. And I noticed that we are one of the few people that you always talk about. Look, this Yoruba, this age business is an impediment to us as a Yoruba nation. Some of the culture of Yoruba needs to modernize. You understand? Because it got to be modernized. You cannot say because somebody is old. When it comes to intellectual things, it's not about age. Somebody could be very young and they could be very bright. For example,
if you get the right support, there's a lot into all of that, Akinola. But you know what? We should talk. okay? Because I've always wanted to make, you know, because I've been there before, and I found out that even if I have these upright ideas and how to, because I always love to work with people, yeah, but I learned a very hard way when I realized that people's ambitions started clashing with my ideas, which brought them together in the first place. It's like, you know, it got to a point that they got exposed to the limelight because of what we are doing, from obscurity and all that. They became celebrities, medias were calling them, they became this and that, and they felt like, well, you can't be telling us this, we can't do things like that anymore, and that thing clashed, right? So since then, I felt like I'm not going to get myself deeper, because I know what it requires, what it takes, right? To say, I want to lead this or that. So that's why I said, if we have a meeting, something we can organize, it's possible. You know, not to protest, meet up somewhere.
No.
And, you know.
Yes, it's about, you see, the fundamental issue is about planning. You see, and you got to be somebody, for example, what some of these that are unfolding is something that I've meditated in the past. Yeah. You understand? Yes. Look, I have been telling. Okay.
We'll talk because of others, because everybody's now like possibly like, us. Yeah, we are still here, you know. So
make note of my number.
I will, Akinola. Thank you so much for what you raised tonight. Okay,
my pleasure. Have a good day, Maiyegun.
You too. Bye. Yeah, nice one. So sometimes it may sound like I'm sorry.
Hello, Maiyegun.
Hello, my brother. You can give me 1 minute, just 1 minute of your time. I promise you, I'll give you extra 2 minutes for your own time. All right, please. You see, I am not afraid to lead anything. Okay. But I am somebody who loves what is called a team, teamwork, supporting people who are doing it. All right. And if you feel like they are not doing it right, then you have to just do it your way. But in this case, I still so much respect those who are championing the Yoruba nation. And I still insist that the coordination we are expecting from them is the only key that people like myself and others need to link up and energize that group and realize the dream that they have. So as for leadership and the rest of that, I mean, I think that should come on its own naturally when that time comes. But for now, hello.
Hello, Maiyegun.
Hello, sir. Sorry for keeping you waiting, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're alive.
No problem, my brother. Yeah. Well, Yoruba ni ma so.
Oh yeah, now fire, my brother. I will interpret later.
Ẹ káalẹ́ kú ètò náà, Ọlọ́run á kún fún wa ṣe Yorùbá nation, Ọlọ́run á bá wa gbà. Ṣé rí gbogbo nǹkan tí mo rí nínú ọ̀rọ̀ Dangote pé ó lọ ṣe refinery, ó lọ ṣe gbogbo eléyìí. Tẹ́ bá gbọ́ history àwọn Fúlàní, bóyá Usman Dan Fodio àbí kí lórúkọ bàbá wọn kan ara àwọn jihadist wọn tó ti kú yẹn náà nìkan ní pọ́nmà wọ́n ní pé Kùránì wọ́n máa lọ sí inú omi wa níbo ní Èkó ara Kùránì tó ń tìbọ̀ omi nìyẹn o pẹ́ẹ́pẹ́ gbẹ omi ló wà Kùránì yẹn tó fẹ́ tìbọ̀ omi òun ni wọ́n ń prepare lẹ́yìn. Táwa Yorùbá àjẹkórí wa pé gbogbo bàbá sọ pé Tinubu sọ pé kíní kan sọ pé ó ń sọ pé ọjọ́ ọ̀la wọn máa di Fúlàní gbẹ̀yìn ni o kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ó dàrú.
So ẹ ṣeun o alàgbà. I am going to have to interpret there. It's a short one, but it's a very powerful one. Hello.
Yeah.
Please give me 1 minute of your time, sir, as well. Okay. So my last caller decided to corroborate what my other. No, not you. You can hang on. Okay. I'm just talking now. Just hang on for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So my caller said the other caller who brought to our attention the significance and then the symbolic kind of presence of Dangote's refinery in Lagos, a rice mill wherever in Ikorodu, and the gold extractive company in Osun. That we should ask ourselves, are there no Yorubas who could actually do all those? before now for 22 years. And he also said that if you remember the history, Uthman Danfodio, their dream of touching the water, the sea in Lagos with their Quran, that dream that some of you are thinking they are going to bring a jihad and, they will touch it. No, they are already touching the sea as Dangote is next to sea. Something significant. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yeah, hello, Maiyegun.
Yes, sir.
I am so excited to have got you today.
I am
to be frank,
too. I can feel it.
The whole of last year, I have been praying, and I said something in my mind. I said, if I get Maiyegun now, then it means one of my contract will click, and exactly it's clicking.
No. You have to say that again. You know something, right? I've had people who told me. Yeah. A lady told me, and she said that she sent a text. She was like, I'm still struggling to call you. Because of you, I feel like I didn't have a great 2021. That was extreme, okay? But I was like, people do take things extreme. Did you say something about contacts? That if you reach Maiyegun, if you are able to call Maiyegun, what did you say will happen?
Yeah, I said if I told myself that if I get Maiyegun, then one of my contract will click. I just had that faith, and just like that, for the whole of 2021, I've been trying to get you, but I can't. I can't. So I'm so impressed and I'm so happy. Anyway, my name is Fidelis, and I'm calling from.
What's your name, bro?
Yeah, my name is Fidelis, and I'm calling from Canada.
Fidelis from Canada. You're live.
Yeah, from Canada. Yeah, thanks very much.
Right.
Well, Maiyegun, first and foremost, I want to applaud you. Thank you very much for the good work of sensitizing Nigerians and then making us to be aware of what is going on. As a matter of fact, I've also joined in trying to enlighten some of my friends too when they come around, to tell them what is happening back home. But it pains me so much that in a country where we are having almost 70% falls under the aggregates of youths, that we cannot really find people who can ask questions just the way you have been asking. Those of us who are in diaspora here, we keep helping. In fact, a friend of mine told me, he said, look, Fidelis, he said, do you know that you people in diaspora are also contributing to the issues back home? I said, how? Why? Have you listened to what Maiyegun is saying? He said, yes. He said, but do you know that for every kobo we send to them, it makes them even more relaxed? It doesn't, as far as we are concerned, it's like it's only those in diaspora that is feeling the pain. They are not feeling the pain. And that's why, to some extent, I kind of feel that the only way they can get this message well passed back home is when this poverty and starvation has gotten to a point whereby people will wake up in the morning and then come out and say enough is enough. There's little or nothing we in diaspora can really do. We keep sending money back home to augment the default of where the government is supposed to have supported. And then those who are back home, call 4 or 5 people back home and ask them. They'll be looking at you as if we are the ones that are mad. We are the ones that do not know what's going on and all that.
Fidelis, where you'll be talking to people and you find yourself trying to argue about what they are going through, and they will say you are overreacting. It's not that bad, Jerry. It's not that bad. So you experience that too.
Yeah. So what? Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. So what I think we in diaspora should do is this. Let us fix a day. We can all wear T-shirts of Biafra on a certain day in US, in France, in Canada. Let us showcase a message whereby the whole of those in diaspora on a certain day we dress up on such uniform to send a message back home, and then we take those back home too. Get your T-shirts ready too, so that even if we do not come out on a physical fight, the world will ask questions and say, look, why are you put dressed like this? What is this symbol that you are wearing? So I think that I feel that such could help.
As long as awareness and solidarity.
Yeah,
it will well.
Yeah, but as long Yeah, so, but I know that sometimes, you see, Nigeria's issue is a very complex one because my uncle is involved, your auntie is involved, your niece is involved, my nephew is involved. It's a very complex, they're all feeding from it. And you cannot tell a man who has like 4 or 5 children to feed that he should stop feeding his child because he wants to defend Nigeria, he wants to fight. It's a bit very, very hard because once there's no food in the tummy, it's very hard to actually talk sense into such person. And those are what the politicians are liberating on. So I must really thank you very much. But I want to advise you, please, I want to advise you as it is for you now, because of the fact that you have decided to buckle the cat, you should know very well that nobody should be advising you now to come and mantle. And you've done your own side, and your own side is to kind of enlighten people to make us to be more aware. But I want to tell you, bulk of it is going to fall into poverty. Nigeria has to sink to that base first, die, and then before resurrect. Just like you planting a seed in the soil, that seed has to die first. There is nothing we can do about it. We can talk from today to tomorrow, but the population in Nigeria, the youth there in Nigeria, I doubt if they are ready.
They are not.
I doubt if they are ready.
No.
Yeah, they are not. We are only in diaspora. Check how much we send. Check how much Nigeria in diaspora are remitting.
We are already crossing $40 billion now. We used to be around 33, 32, 34 a year. In 2021, Nigerians all over the world remitted almost $41 billion.
$1 billion.
As Nigeria is sinking to poverty, Nigerians are walking the asses
You tell me now, Maiyegun. Sorry, I'm taking your time, but tell me now, Maiyegun. Let all of us in diaspora agree that every Tuesday, Wednesday, no sending of money from diaspora to Nigeria. Let's crack it in that way and see what happens. Even if it is twice in a week, we just say nobody sends money on Tuesday or Wednesday, no money from in diaspora, the whole of the world, diaspora going back into Nigeria. Let's see if that is going to shake. It's going to shake the youth now to say, look at the same crop of old men that are there who have come back again, whether PDP or APC. They are the same crop of people. And we are going for another 4 years. Whereas those of us in diaspora are busting snow, trying to make sure that we make both ends to meet. So we need to ginger them. If it is twice in a week, we just say, okay, whether it's your mother, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your auntie, we don't care to know. Hot money. Let's all hold our purse and see if that will not shake. It will not send a waiver into Nigerians' foundation and crack it, where they will come up and say, yes, enough is enough. Everybody is tired.
I hope people are listening, because we've said this many times as well, that people should cut down what they give, but somehow cut it down. Can let the family suffer too.
Zero it. Then we will have a time that they say a Biafra t-shirt where everybody in diaspora will wear on a certain day. You can go on YouTube, you can do another, advertise it. You understand? So that because the youth need to know exactly what we're talking about.
They do.
They need to know what they're talking about, but I doubt if they do. I need to thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me. Granting me this opportunity to air my opinion, and I hope we talk more. Thanks, sir.
I hope so too, and I hope I'm lucky next time to have you. Okay, it's been an interesting night. Okay, thank you, Fidelis. I'll take my last call. We already passed our time, but I'll take my last call from Eda Olaoluwa. Helda.
Hello.
Helda.
Hello.
Elda Olaoluwa. Good evening, sir. You are live.
Yeah. Eba binu kwe mi wa church wo sick díẹ̀ ni o re mi díẹ̀ ni eba binu sa alagba
airo egba ìwòsàn nípa ti òdodo báyìí kí ara ja
mo ti lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn evangelist tẹ́ bá rán wa lọ sa ní hospital wa
normal no primary nìyẹn mo fún yín ní ìwòsàn ti òdodo láti Temple of Truth yẹn ní pẹpẹ òdodo mímọ́ pẹpẹ òdodo mímọ́.
Okay.
So but primary one láti lọ yẹn ló ṣe pàtàkì o yẹn ní first àwọn yẹn ti sọ fún yín pé ẹ follow procedure ẹ wá gba final ìwòsàn ètò òdodo báyìí ó yá kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ètò òdodo. Ẹ go on sir ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yes,
yes sir.
Yeah, first of all, I just wanted to remind every Nigerian that there are three things. There are three responsibilities of a citizen of a state. One, you must pay your tax. The second one, first one, you must respect the law of the state. The second one, you must pay the tax. The third one is an obligation. Voting for someone or offer yourself to be voted for is an obligation. Nobody has right to force you to do that. So if you choose not to vote, nobody has right to force you to go vote for someone or be voted for. No. So people should understand that one.
That's right.
Now, to what happened to what they call him, Shawolu,
the wash down that happened at Magodo. They settled it, or they said they are going to give the land to the people who won in court. And the people in Magodo can keep their houses. Go on, sir.
Yeah, I've gone through it. Yes. Now, Sawolu Elsa killers, people killer at the Elsa, and the other one, the Odumosu, the commissioner of police there.
Oh, that man.
Jumoke killer, because he's the one that killed Jumoke, that police. He's the one that killed Jumoke. Okay? Two of them, you see how they were degraded. Maiyegun, I've told, several times I said to Nigerians, say anybody that wake up in the morning that think he has a leader or a government is deceiving, is a fool. You can see yesterday. Look at that. Look at what they call it subordinations. I don't know how in government staff. It's subordinations. Look at glaring one, and there's no consequences for anything. The danger there is this: if a governor could do that, and that thing can happen in the face of the glares of the camera. If you do it, I do it. I think I will have been dead. Give me my right. So this is where the danger is. Now, the last callers was talking. I can see he was talking about how young people start ready or they are not ready, all this type of things. Yeah, I understand his frustrations, like everybody. Okay, but the truth of the matter is this: I want everybody to realize this. Independence. When we are talking about Yoruba nation, we are talking about Yoruba independence. You are talking about Biafra independent as a nation. It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. That's right. It's a marathon. So, but I'm happy because that one of Nigeria is going very quicker than I expect. And you can see the way this Boko Haram talked yesterday. That man is breaking the country very quickly. I don't want her to watch it, but I know I will do myself a disservice if I don't watch it. How useless the man is. Because I can see now Buhari is a useless man to the core. Okay? Now, Ima Okpe, the lady there. Ima Okpe asked him a question. When they told him about the restructure, state police, whatever, you see how he talked. But Ima Okpe now asked him later, follow it up, and he said, as she said, don't you see the way the country is going? Don't you think we are not going to go far before we split our way? Then Buhari said something because he's still living under illusions that yes, I know people that are asking for the structure, they are just asking for what they are going to gain from the system. All right? So that one shows you the man is living under illusions. Yoruba land is a Yoruba land.
That's right.
There's no ambiguity on that. Igbo land is a Igbo land. There's no ambiguity on that. There's a map. Everybody knows their boundary. Okay? Hausa know their land. If Fulani have one piece of land in one in Kasinas there, they know where their land is. If Benin know their land, everybody know their land. So now, what you guys are doing, please continue do what you are doing. Because the job you guys are doing, you can see, even the ordinary reporter like Mokwe or anybody, they can even ask the president of Nigeria about the breaking up of country in front of him, face to face. That means you guys have already break their back. Their backbone, they've already break their backbone. Please continue.
Thank you, sir.
Let us continue our awareness.
We will.
Okay? Because these people that occupy the political space, they are very dangerous people.
They are.
Okay? So now this mic, that mic in front of you make you dangerous. Make us dangerous. All of us dangerous for them. So please continue.
We will.
You know, but everybody don't be in a hurry. We will pass the message round. We are doing the job. I was happy yesterday. I was talking to someone. Somebody called me from Ohio yesterday. I was seeing him for a long time.
Yeah.
At the background, I just had Maiyegun I just had you talking on the background.
At the background, okay.
Yeah, in Ohio. So then I said to him, I said, you are listening to this rubbish. I call you rubbish. I said, you always listen to this rubbish Maiyegun. I said, you respect me more than that. How do you call Maiyegun rubbish? He said, Maiyegun is a good man. I don't normally listen to him. I said, no. Then I said, thank you very much. I said, I always.
Like Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll continue.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So that's another one from Elder Olaoluwa there. It's going to be my last caller, and then it is actually bedtime. It's over. I mean, it's past 12 in Nigeria as we speak, late in the night. Usually, I don't really want to keep you up that late. All right. But the time change or time difference here in the UK is a big issue, okay, until we go back to normal. So I want to say thank you to every one of you who took your time with me tonight. It's been a pleasure, as always, all right? I've passed the message. You can digest it. Let's disagree to agree. You've got a great opinion, a great idea, and then many of them you can share with us. The beautiful one I love most about tonight is that, yes, we will get to a point where we have to meet, and it's going to start. It may even start with you, Akinola, my great brother from Kent. He may come to London. It may have to be outside London. Yorubas should meet. It should go beyond just talk, and we shouldn't make all our meetings limited to when we call out for protest. We should do better. This is 2022. I mean, we should do better. There are people to be discovered. There are so many people that won't even call in. They were walking into a meeting and say, I've been watching you. Everywhere I go outside Glasgow, I usually meet people that will say, I have been following you and I've been watching you, but I just don't call onto your program. And that is something I want to see happen, have everybody all together where we can have this chat. There's so much we can do. I always love to support people who are doing something physically, especially when it is and people have paid prices for it. Okay, I strongly believe in Lanoma Odua and the structure they want to work or probably what they are building. We still continue to hope on them. But you know, one thing is this: the way this whole world works, right? If we don't agree with Lanoma Odua, if we don't agree with any of other group the way they are operating, then we'll have to go ahead and start our own. But do you know one thing? You are still going to have to work with them if you really want to do this because of the Yoruba people. Do you get that? Oh, let's start our own. When you start your own, Ilanomo Odu are still Yorubas, aren't they? The people who believe them and the rest of that, they are still Yorubas. So definitely, you're going to end up having to work with everybody if you are doing it for Yoruba people. So I choose to make them better if we are allowed to. But again, there are so many ways we can continue our, like Elder Olaoluwa said, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint or a relay, okay? It is a journey that we should all be ready to walk, especially intelligently. When people know why they want something, they will fight for it. I actually believe that because I'm human. If I want something, I'll find a way around it and fight for it. Then if we want something, we should find a way around it. Let's start meeting first. So thank you to every one of you. for your time tonight. I'm going to be around again tomorrow. You can watch the replay of this later, or you can watch the premiere of it later as well. I'm going to see you some other time. Like the video before you go. As usual, that is your own, your tithe. Pay it to. Don't hold the temple money. Pay your tithe. Click that like. Share the video. I'm going to see you some other time. Good night, everyone.